you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Living the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego, and welcome back to the Living the Dream podcast, where we're going to conquer the middle of the week to explore total wellness in order to reach for your goals and live your dream life. And today's question is, can you actually speed up your metabolism? Can you speed up your metabolism? Well, a little spoiler alert here, not exactly. But don't go anywhere, because what you can do is way more powerful, way more interesting, and backed by real science that most people completely miss. So we're going to clear up the myths. We're going to break down what metabolism really is, and we're going to show you exactly what you can do to get your body burning more energy, feeling stronger, and becoming more resilient every single day. First, what is your metabolism? Oh my goodness, this question is so huge. The metabolism, the human metabolism, is one of the most complex things known in the universe. But let's simplify it down. Let's see if we can understand it a little bit. We want to think of your metabolism as your body's engine. People often say, I have a slow metabolism, or I have a broken metabolism, or I need to boost my metabolism. But that's kind of like saying, my parked car doesn't drive fast. The truth is, your metabolism isn't about speed. It's more about how many miles that your engine can drive each day. Your metabolism isn't about how fast, how much speed. It's more about how many miles your engine can drive each day. Now, those miles are simply your total daily energy expenditure. How much energy you expend every day. And your total daily energy expenditure, it has 4 parts. We've talked about this a lot. There was a masterclass we did about movement, and we went really in depth, but we're going to touch on it here. The 4 parts of your daily energy expenditure. The first is the biggest, your resting metabolic rate. This is about 40 to 80% of your total daily energy expenditure. This is the energy that your body burns just to stay alive. Breathing, thinking, keeping your heartbeat, all of these things go into your resting metabolic rate. And it's a huge percentage, anywhere between 40 to 80% of your daily energy expenditure. The next is my favorite. It's your non-exercise activity, also called your NEAT. And this could be, depending on your lifestyle, as low as 5%. All the way up to something like 30% of your daily energy expenditure. It's the factor that you can influence the most with your daily choices, your NEAT. All of your subconscious movement, your fidgeting, walking to the fridge, taking the stairs, all these things throughout the day that are non-exercise, but still burning calories. The third is your exercise, which most people think is your biggest piece of the pie when it comes to your total daily energy expenditure, but it's actually not that big in most people. Your exercise could be anywhere as low as 0% if you don't exercise at all, up to maybe like 30% if you're someone that's working on triathlons or ultra marathons, these kind of things. These are your workouts. And the last portion of the pie of your total daily energy expenditure is your thermic effect of food. This is the calories that you burn digesting and absorbing food, turning food into you. The thermic effect of food can be anywhere between 8% and 15% of your total daily energy expenditure. And there are some foods that can affect this more, like, of course, protein. We've talked about this a lot. It takes a lot of calories to digest and break down and absorb protein. So if you have a higher protein diet, it's going to be up towards that 15%. But if you have a low protein diet, it'll probably be more down towards that 8 or less percent. But here's the kicker. You don't really control your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, directly. You don't really control it directly, but you can influence it through your daily habits. And this is where the magic happens. So we can't really boost the metabolism, but we can influence it through our daily habits. Let's talk about this. There's a book called Metabolic Freedom by Ben Azadi. And he used this really cool metaphor that I really connected with. And I think that you might as well, because at least down here in San Diego, we know traffic very well. And I want to talk about our metabolism as a metaphor for traffic as a metaphor for metabolism. So let's break this down. Your metabolism is like a highway system. And the way that your body processes energy is like the traffic flow. So you have your highway systems, and then you have your traffic, and then you have the flow. Your metabolism is the system, the highway system, and the way that your body processes the energy from the food that you eat is like the flow of traffic. Okay. So let's talk about, there are two fuel sources that are cars on the road. And the main two types are, the vehicles that are driving on the highway are gas cars and electric cars. Now, glucose, sugar, is gasoline. All the cars on the road that are using gasoline. And then fat, fatty acids, ketones, those are the electric cars. Both of these cars can get you from point A to point B, but they operate differently, right? Gasoline cars, the sugar burners, the glucose, gasoline cars they're quick to start. They're really easy to access. Your body really prefers glucose first. So they're easy to access, but they run out of fuel very quickly. You need frequent refillings. You need snacking, craving, energy crashes. They run out of fuel quickly. Plus, too many of these gasoline cars on the road equal traffic jam. A traffic jam is like metabolic congestion, insulin resistance, where your cells are not listening to the body and where to put all this energy. Now, your electric cars, your fat burners, your electric cars, they're more efficient over long distances. They burn a little bit cleaner. There's less oxidative stress in the body. They burn a little bit cleaner. And you can tap into the stored fat for fuel. Hello, body fat. We have a ton of that. We can tap into this stored fat for fuel, but it requires different conditions to activate. If you want to get that fat for fuel, you got to have low insulin, which is a low carbohydrate state. You got to have metabolic flexibility. Your body has to know how to utilize that energy. And right now, our American diet, this standard American diet that we're eating, it keeps us stuck in this rush hour traffic with only sugar burning cars on the road. So in order to get our metabolism flowing, we do sometimes need to switch lanes and bring in the fat burning vehicles. Traffic jams equal metabolic dysfunction. So you can imagine a 5-lane highway in San Diego, right by my house. We get out on the I-5 and there's a 5-lane highway. And right here in Del Mar is the worst of it. We love the traffic jams, the metabolic dysfunction. If the 5-lane highway is flowing well, then you're in a healthy metabolic state. But if you constantly pump glucose into your system, ultra-processed foods, frequent meals with high carbohydrates, sugar like sodas and candy and muffins and pastries, if we're constantly pumping glucose into the system, then you're going to start to feel this traffic start to slow and jam. If you're sedentary, then there's no movement to burn this fuel. It just amplifies this situation. It's like closing down one of those lanes. If you're not sleeping, then there's no repair or reset every night. And if you're stressed, then cortisol raises and it raises blood sugar. So this is where traffic starts to build up. You now have too much fuel coming in, a calorie surplus. You don't have enough cars leaving the highway, which is poor fat burning or oxidation. You have broken traffic lights, meaning that the hormonal signaling, things like insulin, cortisol, the hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin, these are all broken and not working properly, which is just going to delay cars and make them do the wrong things and get into the wrong situations. And then you have damaged roadways. You have potholes here that cars have to swerve to get around, which slows down other cars to get around them. This is inflammation. This is mitochondrial dysfunction. You can think of your mitochondria as the drivers of all of these cars. If your mitochondria are not working, maybe they have blindfolds on, or maybe they have sun in their eyes, or maybe they're tired and lethargic and they're not thinking correctly, you're going to get traffic. This leads to things in the body that we call insulin resistance, metabolic inflexibility, fat storage instead of fat burning, and energy crashes and brain fog. So the simple takeaway from this traffic jam metaphor is that traffic jams in your body equal blocked energy. They equal fat gain, and they equal disease risk. You have to clear the roads and then get the fuel moving again properly. So insulin, the hormone insulin, this is kind of like the traffic cop. This is like the cop on the side of the road, making sure that everyone's doing everything right. Insulin controls which cars can enter or leave the highway. So when insulin is high, after things like eating meals, especially carb-heavy meals, then fat burning is shut down. When our insulin is high after we eat high carbohydrate meals, then fat burning is shut down. When insulin is low, the fat burning lane, it opens up. We open up another lane on this highway. But if insulin is always elevated due to constant eating or sugar overload, it's like the traffic cop is holding up a stop sign 24/7. No fat burning allowed, only sugar cars on the road. Fat just keeps getting stored in the garage, aka your belly, your liver, your hips. So a simple takeaway here is if you want to burn fat, you need to let that insulin come down. That means stop snacking. It means maybe eating lower carbohydrate for a bit and let your fat burning engines turn on. Now, I hesitate to say this because we already are in such a carbohydrate phobic centric society where everyone's so scared of carbs. That's not the point here. But you have to realize that if we're eating these simple, easy to digest, easy to absorb carbohydrates, then we're kind of putting a little bit more traffic onto our freeway. It can still flow fine, and especially if you're an elite athlete that is working hard, or if you're taking a bunch of HIIT classes, like you need that energy, you need that fast energy. But if you're someone that's sedentary and sitting down all the time and not utilizing a lot of energy, not moving your bodies, then that fuel has nowhere to go. So it's so nuanced here, and it's definitely super complicated. But there's the nuance to this that it's really important to understand. And yes, eating a little bit lower carbohydrate for a bit could help you to turn on those fat burning engines. You want to make sure that you do something that you can maintain long term, but maybe there's these toggles that you can switch on and off based on what your current lifestyle is. Let's talk about metabolic flexibility. Most of us, I think the stats are over 90% of us are metabolically inflexible. Metabolic flexibility equals a smart city highway. A metabolically healthy person is like a modern highway system. This person can switch between sugar and fat based on what's available. It has off ramps and on ramps that work really well, good hormone signaling. This person recovers quickly from traffic. They have low inflammation. They have a strong mitochondria in the cells. They run efficiently at different speeds. Rest versus exercise, they can run efficiently based on where they're at. This is called metabolic flexibility. Your body can use whatever fuel is best for the situation. Metabolic flexibility is associated with improved insulin sensitivity, lower inflammation, better cognitive function, and reduced chronic disease risk. So the simple takeaway here is a flexible metabolism is a traffic system that adapts in real time. A rigid metabolism, or broken or slow, what some people might say, is a city locked in gridlock every day. It's New York City, downtown. It's Del Mar, California during prime time rush hour traffic. Let's talk, how can we fix this traffic system? So if you don't understand anything about what we just talked about, if it's still kind of over your head, we can still talk about how to fix this traffic system. To improve your metabolic traffic, here's what AKA the city planners, or you, can do. You can move more, especially walking. Walking is so important, and not just one big giant walk at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, or one big block of time. Spacing it out throughout your day, minimizing your sedentary behavior, and moving your body throughout. This helps to clear congestion. It helps to increase your insulin sensitivity. It helps your insulin do what it needs to do. It burns off the glucose, and it opens the fat burning lane. Once you can get that easily accessed energy of gasoline used up, then now we can open up this harder to get fuel, this fat burning lane that we can open up to be able to start to burn some of that fat that we have stored. Sleep deeply. I know we talk about sleep every episode. It clears mental debris. You have this system called your lymphatic system, which is this waste management system in your body, but you also have this glymphatic system, which is in your brain, which sleep helps to clear the mental debris from this glymphatic system. It resets insulin and leptin, the hunger hormone signaling, and it repairs damaged roads. It helps to repair mitochondria, tissues of the body. Sleep deeply. Eat less frequently. Reduce your overall insulin exposure. So if you think about eating every 2 hours with a high carbohydrate meal, you're spiking insulin, and then you're spiking and you're spiking. This is closing those fat burning lanes. You want to increase your time spent in a fat burning state. So really focus on protein here. Protein is fine to eat when it comes to spacing your protein out. But when it comes to the carbohydrate meals, maybe you eat those more around your physical activity time. Intermittent fasting is another tool that you can use. It gives your system time to flush the traffic. It gives your body time to get the fuel off of the roads before you put more fuel onto the roads. So eat less frequently, and then eat whole, unprocessed foods. Eat whole foods. This lowers the insulin response. These foods have a higher thermic effect of food. So fiber and protein usually tend to have a higher thermic effect of food. And then it supports long-term metabolic function. You're eating whole foods that are meant for you, not processed, ultra highly processed foods that may taste good in the moment, but they're created by man, and who knows what kind of things they have. Well, we kind of know what they're doing to us already, but long term, they could be doing even worse. Eat whole unprocessed foods, and then build muscle. Muscles equal gas tanks for glucose. Muscles equal gas tanks for glucose. So even if you do have a high carbohydrate meal here or there, you can handle those meals a lot better with muscle. Your muscle mass increases your highway capacity. You're building more and more lanes. And muscle, each pound of muscle, it does burn more calories per day. It's a small number, but over time it adds up. And the more muscle you have, the stronger you are, the more capable you feel, the more of these little tiny things that you do throughout the day, like taking the stairs automatically instead of the elevator, like lifting a box over your head instead of asking someone else to do it. These little things add up over time. Listen, your metabolism, it's not broken. It might just be backed up. There's too many sugar cars. There's not enough recovery. not enough time to let the lanes clear. There's not enough muscle to create all these lanes on the road. But you are the city planner. With the right strategy, better sleep, movement, smart eating windows, resistance training, you can clear the traffic jam. You can reopen the fat burning lanes, and you can get your energy flowing again. There are some acute metabolism, quote unquote, boosters, some temporary metabolism boosters. These get hyped a lot on social media. And yes, you know what? They do work temporarily. This is what everyone wants to hear about right here, the acute boosters. How can I boost my metabolism? So yes, I'm going to talk about them, but they are a very small percentage. This has to be stacked on those things that we just talked about. Here's the science on what actually gives you a metabolism boost for a very short term. Number one, spicy foods. What? Spicy foods? Spicy foods contain capsaicin, chili peppers, ginger, cayenne. This can increase your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, by about 3 to 5%, and that can last for maybe 1 to 2 hours. Wow, spicy foods. Okay, that's kind of cool. It's small, but it's real. Number two, cold exposure. Things like lowering your room temperature, things like cold showers or cold plunges. These things promote brown fat activation, the kind of fat that burns calories to keep you warm. Long term, this can increase fat loss if done consistently. So when you find yourself that you're a little chilly, let yourself be chilly if your goal is fat loss. You might be promoting brown fat activation. Cold exposure. Number three, caffeine, my favorite, everyone's favorite. We all love caffeine. This increases your resting metabolic rate by anywhere between 3 to 11%, lasting 1 to 3 hours. This also helps to reduce appetite, which is a short-term win for those of us that have a hard time snacking. The problem with caffeine is that we build up a tolerance and we get less and less benefit from it as our tolerance builds. Also, a lot of us are abusing caffeine, and some of us are taking caffeine in the wrong modalities. We're drinking it with a bunch of sugar or whatever the case may be, a bunch of calories. If that's not our goal, it's going to be a little detrimental towards the long-term goal. I myself, I really love, my one vice is probably energy drinks. It's probably not great for my health, but I also have talked about this before. There's caffeine pills. Caffeine pills, you can buy a bottle of 100 pills that have 200 milligrams per pill, break them in half. That's 200 days worth of caffeine for $8 to $10. It's crazy. You don't have to be drinking all of these sugary beverages to get your caffeine in. Number four, green tea. Same kind of thing. Green tea, it boosts your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, by about 4 to 5%. It's not very big, but hey, that's something. It contains catechins, which compound with caffeine and temporarily increases fat burning. So yes, these work for a little while, but they won't fundamentally change your metabolism. They won't lead to long-term fat loss unless the rest of your routine supports it. So I want to go again a little bit what we just talked about short-term. Let's talk about long-term, going back into those big levers, just really driving it home. These are the chronic lasting changes that can raise your RMR and keep your body humming over the long haul. 1, quality sleep. Poor sleep equals reduced RMR. It increases your hunger hormones, ghrelin, which puts you into a calorie surplus usually, and it decreases satiety, your hunger hormone, leptin. One study found that sleep deprivation reduces fat loss by 55%. Reduces fat loss. Sleep deprivation, not getting enough sleep, reduces fat loss by 55%, even when calories were the same. Why? Because sleep also affects muscle preservation and recovery. So if you don't get sleep, you might be breaking down muscle tissue for energy. which the body doesn't like to do. It's very hard to do and it's a long process. But over time, if you're going to be taking it from somewhere, it might be taking it from lean muscle tissue. These are key tissues for metabolism. You don't want that. Action step, get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Prioritize it like your workouts. Sleep routine. I love to set an alarm to start my sleep routine. Not to wake up, but I set an alarm for when my sleep routine should start. That helps to get the first domino into action. Number 2, fish oil. Long-term fish oil supplement, omega-3s. 3 grams a day has been shown to increase your RMR by 14%, increase your fat oxidation by 19%, and increase lean muscle mass by 4% over 12-week studies. Omega-3s reduce inflammation and improve mitochondrial function. These are your body's energy-producing engines. So supplement with a high-quality fish oil, or better yet, eat fatty fish like salmon 2 to 3 times per week. Number 3 is build muscle mass. Huge. Muscle burns calories more than fat, about 6 to 10 calories per pound per day, which doesn't seem like a lot. 6 to 10 calories, that's like what, 1 almond? But over time, 1 pound turns to 5 pounds, turns to 10 pounds. That turns into hundreds and hundreds of calories over the years. This is also taking you in the right direction rather than losing muscle mass and taking you in the wrong direction. Muscle is the number 1 factor in your resting metabolic rate. The higher your muscle mass, the higher your resting metabolic rate. Loss of muscle as we age, sarcopenia, is one of the biggest contributors to metabolic slowdown. People think that their metabolism slows down as they age. It doesn't. We lose the muscle as we age, which slows down the metabolism. So your action step here, strength train. Hit each major muscle group 2 to 4 times per week. 2 to 4 times per week. You could do 3 full body lifts. You could break it up into upper body, lower body, and do that twice a week. Lift progressively heavier. You must challenge the muscles in a way that they have not been challenged before. Give them time to recover and do it again. Resistance training equals metabolic protection. Number 4, exercise. Exercise, strength plus cardio. Strength training raises your RMR. Cardio helps to burn calories. The combo of both could be a huge game changer. Exercise not only burns calories, but also raises your metabolic ceiling, especially when combined with good sleep and muscle recovery. So combine your resistance training with NEAT, walks, steps, movement to maximize burn. It doesn't have to be high intensity. This is where that zone 2 cardio comes in. Just moving your body, minimizing sedentary activity. The most effective strategy here is to stack small wins. When you combine multiple evidence-backed strategies, you create sustainable metabolic enhancement. So think about it. Here's a realistic daily plan that actually works. You can add 200 calories from additional daily movement or exercise, 200 calories of exercise a day. Then you can put in some fish oil and some green tea, which is like another 25 to 50 calories. And then you can increase your protein because your protein is going to take more calories to burn, to digest. That's another 45 to 50 calories. Adding in a 15-minute daily walk, 100 calories. Maybe you do that a couple times. And then a small calorie reduction. You're just cutting maybe like 80 to 100 calories off of what you normally eat. That's like leaving a couple bites left on each plate. If you were to add all of that up, the increased movement, the fish oil, the green tea, the protein, the walks, the calorie reduction, the small calorie reduction, you don't have to cut calories a lot. Now, that net result, you're burning more, you're eating better, and you're avoiding the crash cycle of dieting. This combination, it preserves your muscle mass, it avoids metabolic slowdown, it fights adaptive thermogenesis, which is just your body slowing down during weight loss, and it reinforces sustainable, healthy habits. It's too easy. It's simple. It's not easy to execute. It's simple. Final truth. Your metabolism is not fast. Your metabolism is not slow. It's responsive. Your metabolism is constantly adapting to your behavior. It is not broken. It's not really fixed either. It's just listening to what you're asking it to do. So what is it responding to today for you? What is it responding to today? Are you moving or are you sedentary? Are you sleeping or are you staying up late watching TV? Are you building muscle or are you avoiding resistance? Are you drinking coffee but skipping protein and hydration? You don't need hacks. You do not need hacks. All you need are habits. You don't need a faster metabolism. You need a more supported one. Feed it, move it, rest it, build it. If you stay consistent with these habits we just talked about, it doesn't matter if you understand the traffic metaphor. It doesn't matter if you understand the metabolism. Very few people do. I am learning every single day about it, and I still feel like I know very little. Your metabolism will reward you with these habits we talked about. It's been proven to work. It will reward you with more energy, resilience, and fat-burning power for the long haul. Most people who think they have a broken metabolism are actually experiencing what's called metabolic downregulation. This is due to chronic undereating. This is due to muscle loss, and this is due to low or no movement, not because their body is defective. So I want to finish up this episode addressing that and just diving in a little bit deeper because I hear it all the time. My metabolism is broken. But I want to use that traffic metaphor to explain what's really happening with this metabolic down regulation. Okay, so our metabolism is the city highway system, and our daily food intake is the fuel and the number of cars that are driving on that road. So if we imagine someone, maybe like you, who's been eating very little for months, maybe years, they've been eating not enough calories, definitely not enough protein, and doing very little strength training. If this sounds familiar, maybe it sounds like you or someone you know, here's what happens on the road when that is your reality. Your city, it shrinks. Metabolic downregulation. When you undereat consistently, especially without resistance training, your body starts to downsize the city to conserve energy. It removes lanes. This can come from things like muscle loss. So now your 5-lane system turns into a 3-lane system. And you might even be possibly eating the same amount of calories as when you had 5 lanes. Your city shuts down the off-ramps and it fires the repair crews. These are the hormonal imbalances. These are the low thyroid output. This is the low reproductive hormones. It lowers the speed limit, which resting metabolic rate goes down. So it lowers the speed limit of these cars. This is your body's survival system kicking in. This is what we have been evolved to do. Not because you're broken, but because you've convinced your body that food is scarce and movement is rare. It's like running a city on a shoestring budget. Long-term caloric restriction reduces T3 thyroid hormone output. It lowers leptin, the hunger hormone, and it can reduce muscle mass. All of these things lower your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, which accounts for, again, remember, the majority, 60 to 80% of your total caloric burn. If muscle is gone, you have no engines. Muscle is the biggest fuel burning engine in your metabolic city. When you don't use it or you don't feed it, especially with protein, your body sees it as unnecessary and it lets it go. No engines means less glucose gets stored. Less glucose storage means that you have higher blood sugar and in turn more fat gain. Less lean tissue equals lower calorie burn all day long. This is like ripping out the engines from all of the cars and wondering why the highway isn't moving anymore. Every pound of muscle burns calories per day at rest. Muscle improves this ability to get that glucose out of the bloodstream, and it helps with your insulin sensitivity. Losing muscle equals increased fat storage, even if you're eating less. So undereating is actually digging you a deeper hole. If your solution to not losing weight is to eat even less, that's like removing even more lanes from the highway. There's just no room for traffic to move. Eventually, the city is going to grind to a halt. Here's the key truth. You don't speed up traffic by taking away lanes. You speed it up by building more roads and using better vehicles. And in the metabolism world, that means building more muscle, lanes and engines, eating enough protein and calories, fuel and resources, and moving more throughout the day. Traffic flow. You're not eating more to gain weight. Get this mindset shift. You're not eating more to gain weight. You're eating more to build the metabolic machinery that allows your body to burn more calories at rest. It allows your body to regulate hormones better. It allows your body to feel better. You've been under fueling the system, and your body has adapted by slowing everything down to survive. Now, you need to reverse that adaptation. So what do? Let's go over it again. Strength training, 2 to 4 times per week. It rebuilds the highway lanes. It adds engines to your vehicles, which means that it increases lean muscle mass and it improves your insulin sensitivity and your resting metabolic rate. You need to eat enough protein, 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of desired body weight. If you want to be 200 pounds, anywhere between 140 to 200 grams of protein a day. This fuels the construction crews, which helps to preserve and build muscle, boost the thermic effect of food. And then you need to walk daily. Get your 8 to 12,000 steps a day spread out throughout the day. 8,000 is like that nice number where you're reaping benefits. Yes, as you get past the 12,000 into the 15 and the 20,000, it starts to get diminishing returns. But walking 8 to 12,000 steps a day keeps traffic flowing. It increases your NEAT, non-exercise activity. It burns fat. It lowers insulin. Prioritizing sleep. Overnight, road repair and hormone reset happens during sleep, restoring leptin, ghrelin, your hunger hormones, your growth hormone, reduces cortisol, and then eating balanced meals on a regular, consistent clock. Consistent fuel to support your city function. It prevents extreme hunger. It helps to reduce metabolic adaptation and fatigue. So, summing it all up, guys, if you're under eating and you're barely moving, your body sees that as a threat. And it responds by slowing down your metabolism to protect you. It's not broken. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, down regulating. But the fix isn't less food. You might lose weight fast if you eat a lot less food, but you're going to be losing muscle mass, putting yourself into a hole that it's really hard to dig out of. It's not the kind of weight you want to lose. The fix isn't less food. It's more of the right kind of food and movement that tells your body, hey, it's safe to thrive again. Let's build. Let's burn. Let's go. I hope this episode helped clear up some confusion. And if it did, share it with someone who may be chasing a fat loss goal, but always blaming their slow metabolism. And if you have any further questions on what we talked about today, please reach out to me. I'd love to figure it out with you. And that's it, my friends. Thank you for joining me on this Wellness Wednesday episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Share the knowledge that you gain with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. If this episode inspired you, share it with a friend who could benefit from what we talked about today. To support this podcast and help it grow, please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on and leave a review telling others how this podcast benefited you. leave a comment on this episode letting us know how you're incorporating what we talked about today. This is a non-cost way to help get this important wellness information into more people's ears. Tag me at livingthedream_podcast or at Coach Damien_SD and let us know how this episode benefited you. Let us know what we missed. Let us know what we got wrong. We want to know. Message us if you have any suggestions or tips that would help your Living the Dream team that we can discuss in future episodes. I will be right here with you working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.